Lacey. We're at the Atlanta History Center, and we are speaking with veteran Rubin G. Tepper, and we're glad to do so. Where shall we start?
That's a good one. You want me to start when I first came to this country?
Yes. You want to tell them where
Okay.
you were born? Suchowola.
Right. Suchowola. You pronounce every letter, you know, in Polish.
That's in Poland, all right.
And I was born. Do you have the date? I need to give you the date. I get
That's a fine date.
I was born in 1920, June 1920, and then my father passed away when I was about 5 years old, and when I got to be about 13, my mother used to rent out, we had a farm, we used to rent out a farm, she wasn't getting very much for it. So when I got 13, I bought 2 horses, we had a 2-horse farm, and I started working the farm all by hand. We didn't have no machinery. And that was very, very hard work for a 13-year-old. And that kept on going. And in the wintertime, I used to, since I had the wagon and horses, I used to hold grain to a meal so I could make a little extra money. And that was going on until my brother, I had a half-brother in Cordele, Georgia, that had lived there for many years, and came to visit my father, who was still alive then, and I had another brother, and he saw us there, and when he came back, he wanted to bring us over to the United States, and he tried, and he couldn't bring over both of us at one time. The emigration was very tight, so he brought me over first because we decided, my brother decided he would stay with his mother, and I should go. So when in 1938 I came over and landed in New York.
1938?
Yes.
18 years old.
And came to New York. In fact, they sent me, funny part about, sent me a ticket, a first-class ticket on the Britannia. Actually, it was the Queen Mary at that time, and somewhere or another the dates didn't work out, so I took a substitute ship, the Britannic, and it was also very big and luxury. In fact, first class, all my friends on the ship when they were coming over, were from Poland, and they were in what do they call them, general class, or
Economy class?
well, they were just
Steerage?
No, just in general class, you know, normal, where everybody goes. But he bought me a ticket for the first class, and I couldn't speak a word of English then, and when we would go into the dining room, number one, it was so hot. It was it was in July. It was so hot, so I didn't wear a jacket much. But when you went into the dining room to eat, especially the first class, you had to wear a jacket. So they would send me all the time back out to get a jacket, and I couldn't speak a word of English, and when they give me the menu, and I couldn't read, so I would just point, you know, give me the desserts first, and then had something else, and it was very, very awkward. But we came, the ship was landed in New York, and I had, like I said, I had a brother who was much older, so he was going to school, in a medical school in New York, and his name was, huh?
You said your brother. You were talking about your nephew.
Yeah, I know, but he took me, he met me in New York.
But you didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
You started talking about your brother.
My brother was supposed to be in New York at that time. He lived in Cordelia, Georgia, and he was supposed to be on a buying trip there for the business in New York. And it turned out that he was there, and he already left and went to Cordelia, Georgia. And so his son, which he was older than I was, met me at the New York at the harbor there, the ship where it was docked, and he kept on waving. There were a lot of people, waiting there for the people to get off the ship, and he kept on waving. I didn't know who it was because I never met him. I respect my brother. I would recognize my brother because he was there. He came to see us in Poland. So anyway, when I got off, he came over and he started talking to me. I couldn't speak English, and he couldn't speak too well either Polish or Jewish, So he could speak a few words, and he took me off, but hanging around there on the ship for so long to get off, I was getting hungry, and he was hungry. It was time for lunch. He took us. We went into a delicatessen store, and we had lunch. And then we had some family there in New York, in Brooklyn, and we went there. And my niece was still in New York. She went with her father, and I couldn't communicate with her because she couldn't speak Polish, and she couldn't speak Jewish, So I went with her from New York by train to Cordelia, and that was some trip,
Long trip.
And when I went the next day, when I got to Cordelia, my brother had a store, a dry goods store, and I went to the store, and people would walk in and say hello and ask me about something. I didn't know anything about the store, and I didn't understand what he was talking about. So, in the weather, we got to Cordelia August the 2nd, and the weather was so hot. I wasn't used to that kind of weather. And my legs felt like they rubber legs. And I was looking for a place. I couldn't stand on my feet too long. I was looking for a place to sit down. The only place was in the store. It was packed with merchandise. It wasn't that big a store. Where the dresses had a little build-up underneath the dresses, And I would look for a little place where I could sit down on that part,
Yeah, it takes getting used
So,
to not just the climate, but everything.
It was very, very hard on me, the heat, and didn't have no friends there, couldn't communicate too well with anybody. But after about 13 months or so, I learned enough English and the business, the dry goods business. You familiar with dry goods business?
Just from the outside.
It's like a small department store, not for a country store. You know what I mean? And mostly, no groceries. Mostly dry, wear clothing and piece goods, and everything you could think of, thread and shoes. So I learned, in about 18 months of learning after the business, and as a wholesaler I told my brother that there's a store for sale that the fella's going broke in Nashville, Georgia.
No.
Probably, did you ever hear of Nashville, Georgia?
No.
Well, there's a Nashville, Georgia, south of Cordele, off 75, but maybe about 50 miles from Valdosta,
That's
off
south.
75.
Yeah.
If you go to Aide from here and take a left and go about 50 miles, there's a road you can get to Nashville. And they said it's a very good little town, a very good business town. And the fella's going broke, and the wholesaler told him that he wants, we could buy the store. And so my brother went down there, I went down with him, and we looked at the store, and he bought the store, and he put in some merchandise, because he didn't have very much there. And he made me manager of the store. And I stayed there. We opened the store December the 1st, 1939, and I stayed there until
1942, March 3.
March the
this
2nd,
month.
1942, right? And Uncle Sam wanted me more. Then the business wanted me, so I went into the Army, and in fact I went in the Army, and they shipped me out right here to Fort Mac. We started here, and then after a while we were hanging around there. We didn't know where we were going to go, and they put us on a train, I remember. And we kept on going and going and going, I didn't know if we were going south or north. And finally, after a whole day and well, actually all night, and then part of the day, the next morning, somebody noticed there's something about Louisiana, and we went to the train was heading for Camp Polk, Louisiana, and I got my basic training there. It was very hot there too, and there was nothing there but sand, and it was sand or swamps, one of the two departments we were in.
Camp Swampy.
And we got our basic training there, and then then we were shipped out to Camp Campbell, Kentucky, and then from there, I think I don't know which one it was Camp Campbell first, or
Well,
Camp Chaffee,
you were
Arkansas.
Camp Polk, P-O-L-K,
Yeah,
and
and then-
Chaffee,
Yeah, Camp Chaffee, yeah. We went
and
to Camp
Campbell,
Chaffee. Right.
and then you put a comma and you said France.
France, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, then we went to France when we went overseas during World War II. That all was happening, and landed in Marseille, France, and we got our packs, and we kept going until we got to the front line, and we went through France, and we got to Germany. We wound up in Munich, Germany, and about that time, it was about 7-8 months. The war was over. The time we went through the combat duty, the front line, and we got right up in Germany, and we had so many people there. We all couldn't go right after the war home, so we had to do occupation duty, and maybe I stayed overseas altogether, maybe around 18 months,
after the war's end, you served as aide to Burgermeister in Germany. What does an aide do when they're in?
Well, the commanding officer of my unit sent me there. If they haven't, see, we were doing occupation duty there. So if they have the Burgermeister is the mayor, and if he had any correspondence that he wants to, relay to my commanding officer, he would come and tell me what he needs, and I would relay it to my commanding officer, because I could speak. I wasn't from Poland too long at that time. I could speak pretty well Polish. I went to Polish school, and I knew German pretty well too. So,
English?
Yeah, well, a little English again. So I was the right type of person from my unit that could do all that. And so he sent me there to go and stay every day, about 4 hours in the morning. And if he had any correspondence that he wants to send to me, any messages to the commanding officer, he would come and then if I would find anything that I need to relate to the commanding officer, I would go with.
Did you have to collect guns?
Oh yeah, they also, that's right, they also, any of the population, where we're doing the occupation duty, and that was Garching, the name of the town. That area that anybody had guns, they had to bring it in and turn it in to me.
I wonder how you spell whatever you pronounced.
Garching?
Yeah.
It's Garching.
All right. Well, did you get to meet any of the German citizens?
Oh yeah.
What were they like?
They were very friendly. It wasn't like in Iraq. It is now. They were very friendly, and we didn't encounter any problems whatsoever. We didn't carry, for doing our occupation duty, we didn't carry any guns with us, and we made a lot of friends.
How did the collecting go?
They brought in a few guns, and there wasn't a lot of guns that we collected. And then somebody brought in a little pistol about that big, so I said, well, this one I'm going to keep it for myself. So I still have it as a souvenir. And brought a lot of souvenirs from the war. And
When did you?
we stayed there, and like I say, we met a lot of people, and young people and middle age and so on. They were very friendly, and they would invite us to their homes. And until stayed there quite a while, because we couldn't come home. We didn't have enough ships to bring the American soldiers back home as quick as we would like to go, because I think we were over 1 million people there as soldiers.
Soldiers. That's a lot.
So it took time, and I didn't get home. The war was ended in '44, and I didn't get home until '46. 45, what that's right.
Really?
I didn't get until 46, and I got out of the service January the 10th, '46.
You were going back to help your brother.
Yeah, I went back and started working in the store, still a little boy, you know, and I had a niece. I had a niece there was even worse than you know. She was, I think, getting to be an old maid, you know, and she was very picky, you know, and so I got married and I met my wife Selma in New York. I used to have family in New York. I used to go on vacations, and I met her there. And we got married, and after we got married, we moved to Cordele, because that's where my job was then. And my niece was working in the store, you know, she was beginning to get to be, I think, an old maid, you know, and so on. She wasn't that great to work with, you know. She was harder to work with than my brother was, and he wasn't, you know, a very easy person to work, you know, he was strict with business. And and she started working in the office and just didn't work out too well. So she got pregnant, and she was pregnant, and the weather wasn't that great there for us, you know, it's so hot, and we didn't have no air conditioning then, by the way. It's not like today. So we stayed there, and that I was very dissatisfied at that time with the work I had to do and how much I was getting paid, especially when I was working in Nashville, Georgia. I was a manager of the store, and I was getting paid $50 a month, and for my work, and I had to pay $35 for room and board to stay in they had a little hotel there.
What was the going salary for that year? Average type?
People that worked in the store, I think they were getting about $1 an hour. The best I can remember. And so, you know, they didn't make, and I think some of them even started for less than that, you know. People didn't make a lot of money. So, coming back to Cordele, you know, I was dissatisfied, and she was very dissatisfied with Cordele and working for my brother at that time. So
And then we had a daughter.
we had a daughter there in Cordele. And we needed more money, you know, so our mother and our aunt lived in Massachusetts, you know, where she comes from. And they were in the children's wear business there. And they moved to a bigger store at that time. And they had enough room, you know, in the back to put some shoes in there, and they decided that it would be good if I could come and open my children's shoe department in the children's store.
I bet you all were glad.
Yeah, so we decided to move, and housing, you couldn't find housing at that time, you know, where in Massachusetts altogether. In fact, we couldn't find housing even in Cordele. We had to buy a garage apartment somebody was selling so we could have a place to live.
That's right. Housing shortage. I meant to ask, your war experience, did that influence what you chose to do after in civilian life?
No, I was in the Army. I was technician 4th grade, which is a sergeant, and actually my specialty in the Army was, well, at the beginning it was,
Part of the training was
Yeah.
sharpshooter, I think.
yeah, and part of it was, I was instructor for new recruits to come in to teach them how to, well, shoot and how to handle guns and how to take them apart in case some of the parts break down or they would need to be cleaned, how to take them apart and clean them and put them back together. And actually, my classification was gun mechanic. I used to work on the big guns too, the 105s, you know, the artillery guns. That was really my specialty.
I wouldn't know it.
The 105s, the big ones. But I had extra time. I only had 6 big guns like that to look after. And I would have extra time, so I would go in and help out the small arm man that handles the smaller guns. And he would have his hands full because there were so many small guns, you know, compared to the 6 that I had to look after. So I would go in there and help him out, and by doing that for a little while, I learned all about the small guns, so I could work on them too and handle them. And I was very good in firing the guns too, you know. Thank God I had good eyes, and after instruction a little bit when I first went in the Army, I picked up pretty good. I was one of the top usually, and hitting the bullseye. It was only about.
With natural ability, I bet you paid close attention.
Well, everything is. You have to have good eyes and good aim and how to handle the gun itself, because when you pull the trigger, those rifles, if you pull the trigger, when you pull the trigger, you're supposed to squeeze it very easy, because if you just pull it, you get time the bullet when it shoots, the bullet doesn't go in the right place, so you get it off target. So it's like everything else. It's certain people could do it and others can't. And I thank God I happen to be very good with it.
I've been looking at the pictures. Could you hold them up and tell us something about them? Let's see if it gets on camera.
Well, let me see. And
Yeah,
okay.
kind of slant it downward so the light won't hit it.
I'll
I'm
let
going
you
to
do
try.
it
I
when
don't
you
know
want
whether
to
I
do
do
it.
anything or not. Let's see. All right. What can you tell us about these?
Okay.
You got us.
But now I have to see the picture so I'll know. This.
I'd like to look at that first.
Oh.
With this?
And hold
Well,
this
she's
up.
Okay.
through with that.
Yeah, we already did that.
Yeah, she doesn't need to do that. This one was. I would say this one was on maneuvers before we went overseas.
All right.
We were doing a lot of practice, and
Was that in Louisiana?
well, I'm not sure where this one was, because we went to Louisiana and Arkansas. We spent
Okay.
time in Camp Chaffee, Arkansas, and then at Camp Campbell, but so it's hard.
All right.
It's hard to.
The one of you with the comrades in the field, were you in it or were you making the photograph?
This one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean this is
You're in
me.
the middle?
No, I'm
No,
on the
on the
side.
right.
All right, on the left.
On the left,
On the
yeah.
left.
All right.
And this was what was his name? He died from New York. What's his name?
Did you?
Elmer?
Elmer Little. Yeah.
Not good. And you said you have a chance to keep up with some of the veterans now.
He,
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but-
most of them, those, of course, we lost quite a few beautiful young people there, and those even that came back beginning to disappear too, you know, of age and everything else, of sickness. So I had some people came to see me when I was in Cordele, you know, from the army. That one particular fella, he I guess liked me a lot, and he was taking a trip, you know, so he came to see me in Cordele when I first got out of the army for a short while later, and some of them I kept in touch with, corresponding, you know, with, and one of them is still, we call him up, he's in very bad shape,
kidneys.
kidney problem and other problems too.
And you're active in some of the veterans organizations?
I used to be, truthfully now, I would say I haven't been participating in.
How about reunions?
Reunions, yes. We've been going every year to, our unit, the 14th Armored Division, that's where I was, spent all the time with during the war and afterwards. And we had the reunions in Jacksonville, Florida every year at the end of January.
Southeast Union.
Southeastern, yeah, chapter, and
As a matter of fact, he's gonna forget about it. Can't remember what year it was. I think it was 1998, 99. That both of us became presidents. He was president of the men's group, and I was president of the ladies' auxiliary.
man, that's the first time they had
Yeah,
man and wife would be present at the same time.
yeah.
Oh, that's a responsibility, and along with being an honor, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was more an honor actually
Yeah,
than
right.
a
Because
responsibility.
we had a very good secretary. In fact, he was first sergeant in the army, so he used to do a lot of paperwork, you know. And he lived in Jacksonville, so he used to organize everything, you know. That's how he would write me letters, you know, quite often, and when they did notice, and I didn't have to do a lot towards it, you know, except maybe signing my name once in a while.
And all he had to do when we went to the meeting, both of us, was just get up and give a little speech, and
yeah.
I wrote his speech for him.
Yeah, and he was very good, but he passed on, and we had somebody else took his place, but I miss him a lot too, because he was very, very
Very
good.
nice man.
I'm kind of going back to another subject.
Okay, go
Most of the career was in Maine, but at some point we arrived in Atlanta. When did that happen?
The first,
You shifted from Maine, and
No,
now
no,
you're living in
no,
Atlanta.
Massachusetts.
I'm sorry, Massachusetts. I don't get up there very much.
We don't either anymore. I don't have any family left anymore, so we don't.
Okay, so I was telling you about Cordele there, you know,
Yes.
and we were dissatisfied she worked in the office, and we had a baby in Cordero, a daughter, and we were very dissatisfied with we weren't making a lot of money there in the first place. And it wasn't so much the money, the way we were being treated, So, like I said, my niece was working in the store there, I guess during the war, they needed somebody, so she was working there. And she was becoming an old maid, and I just didn't like it anymore. And she wasn't really nice. My brother wasn't the greatest person to work for, but still, she was even worse, So we decided, like I started to say before, our mother and our aunt moved to a bigger place near the children's shop in Massachusetts, in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and they moved to a bigger store, and they had room in the back, and they needed somebody to help them pay for the rent too, So they thought it would be a good idea if I come and open a children's shoe department. That's what I did. Actually, it wasn't very easy to do it because the town in Massachusetts was about 55,000 people at that time, Pittsfield, Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts. And usually a town of that size doesn't have a children's store, altogether. So, but this town happened to have a children's store already.
Shoe store.
The children's shoe store already, and he was a manager of a chain store before he opened the store, and he was already in business about 5 years in the children's shoe store for himself, about 5 years. So he had established a business, and I came in, greenhorn in the town, but nobody knew me, and I opened a little children's shoe department, and I had really better shoes, but they weren't quite as well known as the brand he was selling. He was selling Stride. At that time, Stride was advertising on the Parents magazine, the back of Parents magazine every month, and he was advertising the shoe company that he was handling the shoes for, co-paid with him, and
There must have been enough business for both shops.
It really wasn't, but he had all the business sold up, So it was pretty tough, but I guess I was even tougher, and I stuck out and developed a little business. And then what helped me really, if you remember, Paul Parrott shoes, how they do the time for the children. You remember that? Anything about it?
She's too young.
No, I was too old. I was already off working and not watching TV.
Well, but they had a program for children at that time.
All Parrot.
Paul Parrott, and used to be out of duty, the clown.
That's right.
He advertised the Paul Parrott shoes, and we took in the Paul Parrott shoes in addition to the other brand. And that gave us a little boost, and the best boost I got really out of being in Massachusetts and to start a business. The competition, like I said, took over they already had all the business. It was just a matter of getting a little bit business, from them, from the competition that is most of the business. So when I took in the Paul Parrott shoes and Out of Duty, on television every week, and I don't know how many times a week they were in. Every day were they so?
Yeah, they were on television every day.
So that helped out, and after a while we built up a little business that we made a poor living, out of it. But did okay. We built a nice house in a nice neighborhood, and we
We had a son in the meantime.
yeah, in Massachusetts, and
Sounds
we
like
stayed.
you all worked pretty hard.
It was very, very tough. And we stayed there 16 years. And what happened, what put us really on our feet is we had the little shoe department in the back of the store there, where our mother and grandma and aunt was. But it wasn't a good look. They had a bigger store, but it wasn't a good location, you know. So, and everything was tight. You couldn't find a better location, you know. So there was a little on the main street. There was a better location. It was a little hosiery shop. Went out of business. They had a
Hosiery,
yeah,
yes.
it was 8 feet wide. The store.
Really?
And they had they went out of business, and the trust of the bank who was in charge of that building, it was the trust. The one who's in charge was the trust officer of the bank. Was in charge of renting that little store, you know, the one the hosiery went out. So I called him up and talked to him. They would like to rent the store, and he wouldn't rent the store because he figured, you know, I would be able to pay the rent, you know.
Mhm.
So every couple of weeks, the main time the store remained empty, and it was a very good location. So every couple of weeks, I would call him up and ask him, kept him begging him to rent, wasn't the rent
Looks
the
like they
store.
would want it occupied.
Yeah, I know, but he's afraid that I wouldn't be able to pay the rent, I guess. So that happened for quite a while, for a few months, I would say. And finally, one day he says, well, come in and talk to me. So I went in and talked to him, to the trust officer, and I told him, you know, and what I was doing, all this and that. So I think you want this back. Did that do it okay here?
We'll do that afterward. I was listening to the
Uh,
business.
You're on.
Yeah, you're on.
Camera.
Oh, so went in and talked to him and asked me to come in. So I went in and talked to him, and after a while he says, okay, I'll give you the store. So I moved into that little store that's 8 foot, but it was a very good location. It was a better location actually, and a little bit better than my competitor that was there for so many years. And the name brand that he sold that everybody knew and didn't know, they weren't. And my shoes were really better, but people weren't acquainted with it because they never saw it advertised. So in that location, and then I took him to Powell Parrot shoes, and without a duty coming on, that helped the business, and we stayed there. We stayed there for, I would say, the first maybe about 12 years or so, and then that time you start hearing about discount, you know, things, you know, the discount names start coming into fashion, you know, and discount this, you know, discount this. So I decided it was an empty store on the same street, but not as good a location. It was available for rent, you know. It was a very old building, run down, and I said, well, maybe I'll fix it up, and I'll put in a store there, another store, and call it Discount Shoes. So that was a good idea, but the only thing, I didn't have enough money, so it was a struggle, you know, and could have done a whole lot better. And
I meant to ask, the military service were there any medals or awards I need to record?
Well, this, they had a sharpshooter medal and,
For all the,
Get that on, yes, that's quite a picture. But I don't know what they're for yet, so tell us.
well, that's for machine guns and, rifle shooting.
and all those ribbons.
All those ribbons is, for different areas that,
Yeah.
that we had,
Okay, I see, you
a
wrote
service.
duty in France, Alsace, Luxembourg, and Germany.
Yeah.
So that's the ribbons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For different areas, there
Just wanna
might be
be sure
some
I had
other
that.
areas we wrote that,
Okay.
and this is the ribbons that I've gotten not too many years ago. My son says, he says, well, we had to ride in. First thing, they didn't have all those ribbons available with discharge, in 1946. So we were so glad to get out of the army altogether that we didn't think
Yes,
about
that
ribbons.
was quite a tour.
Yeah, so,
Oops, turn over. You can keep talking.
so we, didn't have it. We got one or a ribbon or two maybe. So my son,
And
so no, I don't know what happened. Somebody said no, to get your ribbons, you have to ride in for it,
also medals too.
Yeah, or the medals. I got the medals too. In fact,
What kind of medals?
the
all
same.
those
Oh, yeah.
ribbons.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, our
Medals
medals.
for duty and medals for sharpshooter, right.
Uh,
What a collection.
So somebody said you have to write in order to get them. So I wrote in and the Veterans
Administration.
Administration, or I don't know what branch, I forgot now, but we had to write in. And they sent us the medals. I wasn't home when the medals came in. We were in Massachusetts, in fact, visiting some people. And my son called me up and says, Dad, he says, we got in the medals, a bunch of medals. Well, see, this is the ribbons, but they also come separate. A medal that hangs, on a piece of ribbon, the medal and the ribbon, So I said, we got a bunch of, and I got all the rest of the ribbons too that you wear on the uniforms. So this one right here, see. So I got in all of those medals, So what he says, I want to frame him. He went down, he got him framed. He didn't want to have him laying around with something should happen to him. And the frame is but not long, but not wide. Yeah, we have it hanging on the wall in the den.
If it were me, I'd want my grandchildren to see them anyway.
Yeah. They've
So,
seen them.
where was it? Do you need any?
Just anything you want to add. You were right in the midst of adding a second store.
Yeah,
or
okay.
changing, I'm not clear which.
Yeah, all right. We added, opened the store, the discount store, and of course we didn't have enough money, but we did some business there. We still had the children's shop, and then it was 64. I was invited to a wedding here in Atlanta, so I came to the wedding, and I had a friend here from Europe, actually, Bernard Halpern. Does it ring a bell? Halpern Enterprise Shopping Centers.
I didn't know that.
They have 35 shopping centers. he was more successful than I was, you know. And when I came to the wedding in '64 to Atlanta, I called him up, you know. We were friends, you know, before I left Georgia, you know, before we went to Massachusetts. And he says, "What are you doing Sunday?" I said, "Well, nothing particular." He says, "Okay, I'll come and pick you up and show you around." So he comes Sunday morning. He's wearing either a decent suit, you know, and he comes in a Cadillac. You know, the suit was matched to the Cadillac. The Cadillac was the same color as the suit.
What color was the Cadillac?
And
Sort of a greenish iridescent.
Iridescent.
I wasn't there, I didn't see it at the time. I had to keep the store open.
To match his suit was matched the Cadillac, and he started showing me around all the properties that already owned. And Atlanta, the way it was growing and starting to grow, you know, in '64, and he showed me what all these things that he did in here. So I said to myself, what am I doing in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, you know? You know, I told you all that how tough it was there.
Yeah.
So I says, I'm going to go back, and it'll take me a year, we'll sell the home, we had a nice home, a nice area. Sell the home, sell the business, we're going to move to Atlanta, and that's what we did. In 1965,
Yeah.
a year later, in 1965, we moved to Atlanta, and we opened the store. We opened our store on Buford Highway in Pinetly Shopping Center.
Now I know where it is.
And it wasn't just shoes. We had a shoe department in the store, but it was children's wear.
Children's wear.
Mm.
Infants up to big boys, size 20,
Yeah, we
boys,
cared.
girls up to 14, so, and chubbies, you know, things like that.
We carried the best brands in the children's wear, so Cinderella and Collars and Heltex, which, you know, name brands that everybody knew, still do. Collars still in business. I think Heltex too.
When you retired, so did you sell the store or somebody kick it open?
No,
or what?
we had to go out of business. We couldn't sell it. People would come, you know, want to buy it, but they didn't have the money. They would give you, I put it on the paper, you know, sign a paper, you know, give you a note, but the paper wasn't better, you know, than the signing. Then they take the store over. We built up a tremendous big inventory, you know, of the store. We probably had the inventory, I would say, about $80,000 or more.
It's quite an investment.
Yeah, and sell some of those piece of paper. They're going to go through the inventory and they're going to wind up with with the paper, because it's a tough business, the children's wear business.
Yeah. How is that handled when you're ready to close it?
Well,
Put on a closing sale.
I was literally making plans 5 years in advance when I'm going to retire, and I started buying merchandise that's very desirable, that they don't change in style, you know, overnight, you know, and working on it, you know, that when we get ready to go out of business, you know, that we will be able to dispose of the merchandise without too much problem. Because sometimes even if the merchandise isn't right, even if you sell it for less than what cost you, people don't want it sometimes, you know. So we had good merchandise. We start putting on sales like before the holidays, you know, pre-holiday sale and so on, and then the Christmas sale. They start start reducing the inventory, you know.
And then fashion's another factor.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So
You had your hands
we
full.
start working down on the inventory, and then we start putting out sales going out of business. You know, it took a while. We were lucky. We didn't make, like I said, we probably sold towards the end a lot of them much nicer for less than we paid for. But still, you had to get rid of it because you couldn't put it in a warehouse and let it just lay there, you know.
And I'm willing to bet that you have been busy ever since. Am I correct?
Well,
Yes.
busy, not business-wise. Well,
Well, the first few months that we were out of business, we traveled a little bit. But after that, you get tired of traveling, so you come home and say, now what do we do? And he looked for a job. He worked in several different places. And,
yeah, I couldn't stay home. I had a hard time. That was the hardest thing for me when I retired.
It's too far to go back to Poland, and
you wouldn't want to either.
It's to stay.
I meant to look up kin people.
Oh, we did go back.
Yeah, that would be never came. You know what happened? We're Jewish. You know what happened to the Jewish people.
Oh my.
So we
Okay.
went back in '91. I took my wife and the two children we have, grown-up children. We went there, and my town is, you know, village towns, you know, small.
Yeah, you learned history firsthand, and that's why I'm having some
And
gaps.
we must have had about 300 Jewish families living in the town. When we went back in '91, there wasn't one Jewish person in the town. Hitler did a job, you know. And of course, the Polacks, I understand, were not great either, you know, to the Jewish people when the Germans were there, you know what I mean? I didn't, when I lived there, I left in
38. 38.
Yes.
yeah, okay, 38.
No, 20.
No,
Like
I
in
know.
2030, yes, it was 30. If you came over here when you were 18. That's
Yeah,
right.
that 38 is right.
Yeah.
Well, when I left, Polish people weren't that bad, but when the Germans came in, you know, we had enough, I guess, that weren't so good, you know.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that. I'm sure.
No, that's all right. And also then the Russians routed out the Germans, and the Russians were just as bad as the Germans.
Because they were the Allies at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't know if they were the Allies at
But
that
in
time.
'91, we went back to my town.
Probably before the Allies.
There was only one person there that remembered, and I remember him too, remembered me. My mother made a little party when I went away, and he was there at the party. He wasn't Jewish, by the way, that little person. And when I went back in '91 there for a visit, he remembered me, and I remember him.
Oh, that's heavy.
And everything was different in town. In fact, the Russians tore down part of the town, you know, part of the streets, and they rebuilt it, you know, and where our house was, I had a picture of the house, you know, before they tore it down, before I left. They made an apartment building there, the Russians, you know, some people were living in that, on that lot, you know. So, like I say, it wasn't one Jewish person left in the whole town.
I'm sorry. Not all of the memories are good, are they?
So, let's see, you want something else there?
Oh, well, I guess anything you want to add. You had such a career or experiences, anything you want to add?
Oh, well, after I,
After we
we
retired.
had actually on Buford Highway, we had one of the largest children's stores for children's wear in the Atlanta area at that time. I'm sure we had the biggest inventory of anybody in children's wear, even compared to Leach's.
And how long were we there? 20
And
years?
we were there 20 years,
Yeah.
and Panther Shopping Center on Buford Highway.
But
And
after we did a little traveling, he says, now what are we going to do with each other? You know, what are we going to do? So he went out and got a job.
yeah,
And he's been working. He
I
had been working up until,
I couldn't stay home, you know, after.
and I got a
Oh.
job too because I
Yeah.
couldn't stay home.
I couldn't just stay home, you know, not doing
That's right, we
anything.
didn't talk about that, didn't we?
So, I went and got a job, and I worked, it was a store named Shoes Unlimited. You know, they had about 5 stores in the Atlanta area, and it was in Tokyo Hills, one of them. And I went to work there. What do I got in my pocket? I took one of them. And I went to work there, and the fella, it's funny, you know, the fella that was running, the manager of the store, they had about 5 stores, I think. Shoes Unlimited, they had one Tokyo Hills there. So I went in, we lived like a couple streets behind Tokyo Hills. So I said, well, that would be convenient, I'll go in there and ask him if I could maybe get a part-time job. So I go in there, and I wrote down all my experience, you know, and showed him, you know,